Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience, the podcast for anyone serious about delivering exceptional customer experiences. Leaders, innovators, and service champions share real strategies and real stories to help you create customers for life. Here's your host, Yanique Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, our guest is Rebecca Stone. Rebecca is the Chief Customer and Marketing Officer at Plume, leading customer and marketing strategy, brand positioning, customer experience, and go-to-market initiatives. Rebecca brings over 20 years of B2B technology experience across marketing, customer experience, and growth. She previously served as Senior Vice President of Revenue Marketing and Customer Solutions Marketing at Cisco and Chief Marketing Officer at Cisco Americas. Throughout her career, she has witnessed the evolution of AI. She has seen the importance of clean and structured data. At DataSift, LiveRamp, and Americas, she built the datasets to help understand customers and their journey and actions. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Communications from UC Santa Barbara. So without further delay, sit back, plug your earphones in, and let's jump right into this conversation with Rebecca. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hi, Yanique. It's so great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Now, we always like to start off our conversation giving our guests an opportunity to share in their own words a little bit about their journey, how you got from where you were to where you are today.
I think that I started off early in my career actually thinking that I was going to be a journalist. I loved to write. That was part of the reason that I went into communications and I quickly realized that that probably wasn't a right fit for me and started to explore other ways to use my writing capabilities and that was how I started to get more into marketing and traditional communications. And that was early in my career, but as I started to take on more and more responsibilities, there's always a component that was about customers. In my very first marketing role, I moved into a retention and acquisition role that had me traveling across the country, training our customers on how to use the product and
Oh,
trying
wow.
to understand why they would cancel, and then using that data that we found to create marketing campaigns to help better build customer adoption initiatives. And so that I think really was the foundation and the red thread throughout the rest of my career has been how do you use mass communication tools like you would in marketing, social media, email, website to be able to better address customer need. And I think that that has ultimately led me to my role today, which is all about both the marketing and the customer success component, which I'm very passionate about and really excited as I step into this new part of my role, which is the customer success component in helping our customers really have a voice within our organization.
Brilliant. All right. Now, in your bio, it said that you work with clean and structured data.
Mhm.
And I believe data is one of the foundations of customer experience because it's kind of what drives how
Yeah.
we develop new policies, processes, manifest a different journey just to create
Yeah.
friction and a more pleasant experience for the client. I would like for you to share, for those of our leaders that are listening into this episode, if they have messy data and they don't
Mhm.
know where to start,
Yeah.
what's the first move that you would actually recommend they take that you believe will pay off for them to
Yeah.
have a better customer experience?
I think the first place to always start is to centralize all of your data components because that is often a piece, a step that I think our teams miss. They're working in multiple different tools, and those tools have a little component of the data that they need, but there is no centralization of the data to connect. Like in our organization, for example, we have some information in customer in our CSM tool. We have some information in our Jira ticketing tool where our customers go to raise tickets. We have some information in our actual product data and the platform of the product. We have some information that is located in marketing tools and the website and Marketo. And we have some that's just in people's heads and in their email inboxes. And so trying to actually take tools to gather them into a centralized data warehouse or a data lake, whatever word you want to use for it, and being able to look at all of that data in a way that then helps you to structure it better. So once you have all of the data in one place, you can actually understand where are the overlaps, where is it clean or unclean. A classic example that I use is the name problem, which is in our platform, first name and last name are one field. In another platform, the first name is capital F first name, capital N. And then in another one, it's lowercase first name, last name. And all of those fields look different. And it's just a simple matter of like, okay, creating a join program to connect all of those names together to be able to actually understand that, oh, Rebecca Stone is Rebecca Stone across all of these and is not showing up as four different things just because the fields are named differently. I think it's basic things like that really make a step change in order to drive you forward and have the information both at an individual customer success level. So the person who is talking to every customer so that they have the background that they need, but also at an executive level so that I have the information and I can look across all of our customers to understand that as well.
Agreed. That was an excellent answer. Thank you so much. Now, AI is big in customer experience now,
Yeah.
right? But the human component is still so critical. You've watched AI evolve across your whole career, and as much of the customer journey gets automated, where do you draw the line between what AI should handle and where a human has to show up?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think that there are things that should be automated because it's just too much information for a customer success person to handle. If you think about the classic experience of you making a phone call into to a help desk for your internet is down or something, and you have to explain to every single customer success person as you go through the escalation. First, you start with the chatbot and you try and work it through the chatbot. Then it's like, okay, the chatbot's not working. You get passed to tier one support, then you get passed to tier two support and passed to tier three support. Finally, where you're probably going to get the answer that you need. But every single time that you have that conversation, you are starting from scratch again, and you're having to explain your problem from scratch. The idea of automation, of passing that information from chatbot to tier one support, to tier two support, to tier three support, so that you don't have to start from scratch, that they can look at the notes, they can understand that AI can help to augment the information so that they, once you get to that tier three support, they can pass along and say, hey, we've already done X, Y, and Z in your checklist. Now start with, A, B, and C and start to really get into the details. That kind of experience, I think, is where AI shows up. But the conversation, the back and forth there is something to be said about having that relationship and making you feel like you are important enough to deserve to talk to a customer support person when you are having those challenges and you really want to talk to somebody. And so I think it's a matter of augmentation of an existing conversation rather than a full replacement when it's needed. And then when you can replace for simple things that take the time away from having those deeper conversations, that allows you to the automation of the simple things so that you have more time to do the more, to help with the more complex things and take the time you need to help with the more complex things is what's most important.
Amazing, amazing. All right. Now, can you share with our audience? I know we're talking about AI, and you can list that if that's a tool that you absolutely can't live without, but could you share with us what's the one online resource, tool, website, or application that
Yeah.
you personally and hopefully professionally can't live without in your business?
I mean, AI definitely is becoming one of the core tools. Claude helping with presentations has been a game changer for me and it frees up a lot of my time. But I think as I move more and more into my customer success role, tools like Gong and Salesforce and Marketo, where I have that information, our database and our resources that are giving me the information about individual customers and being able to see and get the context of emails and customer conversations that are happening just help me to feel more confident about going into an experience that I may not have the full, again, I just used the example of my own experience talking to a telco, but I have that same problem of, hey, I'm supposed to meet with a customer. I've gotten an escalation from one of my CSMs, and I have no idea what the background is. How do I get that background? Those tools like Gong and Salesforce are absolutely critical for helping me to understand the context and really be able to dive a little bit deeper and have that more personalized, customized experience when I'm talking directly to a customer.
Thank you so much for sharing. Could you also share with our listeners maybe one or two books that you've read? Could be a book that you read a very long time ago, or
Yeah.
even one that you've read recently, but it has had a very positive impact on you.
The two books that I've read a long time ago and I continue to go back to on a regular basis are one is called Made to Stick. It is a marketing specific book that is about the concept of how to create an idea that survives in a very competitive market. It's by Chip Heath and Dan Heath, who have a series of books that I am a huge fan of many of the books, but Made to Stick was the first one that I read and has stuck with me the most about creating those ideas. The second one is the classic Five Dysfunctions of a Team, which really is the foundation by which I think about building teams. And Pat Lencioni, who is the author, has had a huge impact on my thought process on how I develop a team, how I develop camaraderie in a team, how do I build outside and start to work towards a team that is aware of the dysfunctions that happen in a team and works through them in order to get to a point where operationally we're far more sophisticated.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll have the links to those books in the show notes of this episode for those of our listeners that would like to tap into those awesome resources. Could you also share with us, Rebecca, what's the one thing that's going on in your life right now that you're really excited about? Something that you're either working on to develop yourself or your people?
I think taking on the new role as leader of customer success, which I've had a little over a month now. I've been with Plume for months. And so I've been running the marketing team for that full 8 months, and customer success is a new position for me. I think the start of building teams is always one of the things that is both exhausting and the most empowering and fueling to me, I can say, because learning something new, learning about the team dynamics, learning about how to fix those team dynamics, like
Mm,
using Five Dysfunctions of a Team and other books that I've read, is something that I truly, truly love. And getting a team to the point where they are functioning as efficiently and as effectively as possible is one of my most favorite things to do. I'm
amazing.
excited about it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I wish you all the very best in that new role.
Thank you.
And that your team development will be one of success. I'm sure you'll experience hurdles because, as I tell my clients all the time, the number
Yeah,
one thing
it
that's
is
most
it is exhausting.
difficult
Like, yeah, yes,
in a
it
business
is
to manage is
equally
people.
exhausting. Yeah. It is equally exhausting and exciting, but it is truly once you get past that and you can look back at what you've accomplished, it feels really great to
Yeah,
have built something that is lasting.
agreed. Agreed. All right. So our listeners would have tapped into this episode and they are quite intrigued with you and your journey and what you've done, and they'd like to connect with you online. Where's the best place that they could find you online?
Yeah, LinkedIn is always the best. Feel free to connect with me, Rebecca Stone. I look forward to messages from everyone.
Perfect. Now, before we wrap our episodes up, we always like to ask our guests, do you have a quote or a saying that during times of adversity or challenge, you'll tend to revert to this quote? If for any reason you get derailed or you get off track, the quote kind of helps to get you back on track.
So it's a quote from Colin Powell that there are no secrets to success, and it is a matter of hard work and persistence that delivers excellence. I've had that on my wall as a reminder for a very long time.
Thank you. Awesome. No, thank you again, Rebecca, for joining us on our podcast, Navigating the Customer Experience, and sharing a little bit about your journey, your new role in charge of customer success at Plume, and just the dynamics of working with different personalities, and even talking about the evolution of AI and where do we draw the line between when does a human intervention come versus
Yeah.
what things do we actually automate. So I really enjoyed our conversation, and I believe our listeners will tap into this episode will definitely get some great nuggets and insights that they can tap into in their own businesses and operations. So thank you again.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Just want to remind our listeners that you can follow us on X at NavigatingCX and feel free to join our private Facebook group, Navigating the Customer Experience Community. Until next time, I'm your host, Yanique Grant.
Thank you for tuning in to Navigating the Customer Experience. If you got value from today's episode, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a review. Connect with Yanique at yaniquegrant.com. Until next time, keep navigating.